Should we start?
Yeah, I guess let's start. Okay.
Shit. We haven't done this in for like 4 hours.
Yeah, we haven't done it in a minute.
You want to go?
Yeah, I guess. No, you do the introduction. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll do the introduction. Well, welcome everyone to another episode of the Wano Report. I have actually absolutely no idea what episode it is because we haven't had one for so long.
Yeah, it's been like a little bit.
It has been like a little bit. Yeah, how have you been, Morj? I mean, we talked before, actually.
Yeah, we talked before. We're just doing this for show.
It hasn't been a while for us, actually. We've kind of like been up to date, but yeah, I think like whenever we tried to have a podcast, it just ended up us talking about YouTube and life and whatever. Like, no time for podcasting in between.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now we're back. We hope we can kind of like make this the start of a new streak, I guess, on the channel. I know people have been luckily have been asking for the podcast to come back, so we're really excited. There is a shit ton really to talk about. So I would say, is there anything you want to say first?
Happy Thanksgiving. Or I guess by the time this comes out, it'll be kind of past that. So
yeah, whatever.
Have a
Merry
good
Christmas.
week. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Yeah, happy Cyber Monday or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you get anything for Black Friday this year?
No, I was very lazy with I could have taken advantage of some sales, but didn't quite happen. And on top of that, I have not done Christmas shopping yet, so I probably missed a big opportunity.
You didn't give any money to Bezos?
No.
Didn't feed the Amazon machine?
I'll happily give him some money. I don't want to go to the stores. I'll happily get some Amazon orders. What about you?
I did get a new lens that hopefully arrives next week. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh,
my camera, yes. Hopefully makes things a bit more crispy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know. Like, it's gonna be December next week, I think on Tuesday, right? And like every year, it happens to me that it's like, I'm like, Christmas is still far off. It's like October, it's November, and then suddenly it's December, and I'm like, shit, I've literally got nothing yet. So yeah, I think that'll start next week, all the stress to get shit. But I guess in the end, this year will all be about delivery.
I think at the very least it'll be a very COVID-filled Christmas because
it'll be
it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, stay careful out there. Otherwise, I'm just thinking if there's anything else we should talk about, or if we could just get into the latest chapter and shit.
Yeah, I forget how we start these. I guess just get into the latest chapter.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't think it's worth it going back through all of the previous chapters. Because we tried that last time we streamed and that was rough. Yeah. I think let's just talk about the latest chapter.
I would say so, and it'll just come up like on the go. Otherwise, just follow us on Twitter before we start, I guess, in case you haven't yet.
Oh shoot, questions. We should ask for some questions on Twitter.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's. I forgot about that as well. Sure. You want to tweet?
Yeah, I can tweet.
All right. Cool. So you guys know that this is real time as always. So we're actually calling right now. What is it like? It has been like 3 hours after the official dropped, I think.
So we only read the official here.
Since we only read the official here.
Yeah.
Exactly, we do. Actually, I really dislike YouTubers who don't support the official. But yeah, so I guess your first thoughts on the latest chapter.
So I'm like still in limbo. I just don't know the direction of where all of this stuff is going. I'd say like in isolation, like if we're saying just this chapter for what this chapter was, because everything changes if you're looking at it in the how do I say this? So if you're looking at it in the context that this is the final battle, then I would not like Apu going down so quickly. If it isn't the final battle, then I think it's just a cool panel. I think it's a cool moment for Zoro. So that's one aspect of it. I think The Sanji scene, I think the Sanji scene I didn't care for, but I don't think anybody liked that, so there's not much to say there.
Really?
But yeah, I think the Zoro stuff just in general in this chapter. Yeah, what's up?
I mean, I kind of didn't dislike the
Okay,
Sanji scene.
all right, that's yeah. Okay. All right. I think the Zoro stuff this chapter was definitely cool. I think across the board, that was one of the coolest Zoro panels we've had in like a long while, like him cutting Apu down. So I think Zoro was really great this chapter. We got some good emotion out of him. I liked that seeing Kiku's arm was part of the motivation of him getting a little more serious, because, you know, Kiku was the scabbard that Zoro had the most interaction with, I think, over the course of Wano, especially during Act 1.
It's true.
So overall, I definitely enjoyed everything Zoro related in this chapter. And I like that Marco looks like is going to be the one who's going to be flying him up, because I think we're going to get some Marco, Zoro, and King Queen interactions. Hopefully Sanji gets in on the Queen action and isn't just, you know, sidelined or stuck with Black Maria for a while, though I don't think Oda would do that to him. Then beyond that, we've got the main thing was, of course, the Kaido scene, right? That was the main thing. I think that's
pretty dope.
It was a really cool panel.
Did not see that coming for sure.
Yeah, dude. I mean, because Kaido had talked about moving Onigashima. He had talked about moving Onigashima, but nobody really understood what the hell he was talking about.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
it was
Kaido's
like, everyone was like, oh, like, this dude is thinking pretty politically. He's like, moving the capital. And then
it's like,
Kaido was like, nope.
I'm pretty blunt about this. We're literally moving Onigashima over.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I'm just gonna move it. I think, good.
Yeah, I'm just gonna jump in with like, I guess we can just spread out the chapter discussion, because I feel like the big question, I've seen people talk about that on Reddit, in my comment section, probably, like, I'm just guessing in your comment section, people have been asking what will happen to your theory now. Because I've been saying that the second part of the battle, the second battle after the failure of the Fire Festival, it will take place, the second big battle on the mainland in the Flower Capital. Well, now basically Oda was like, you know, why not both? So
I think I could still be right.
In there?
I think I could still be right, but I'm less certain now. That's what I'll say. I think I could still be right. I'm less certain now. At the very least, it solves the problem that people had with my theory, was like, well, if Kaido beats them here, then how the hell do they escape? You know, because they sunk their ships and stuff. So it's like, well, I mean, at least they're back on land. That solves part of the problem that was with my theory.
Dude.
The main thing being, I guess, you know, if Onigashima is dropped into the center of the Flower Capital, then I don't think that means that the raid has to end in success. It's just, it could mean that Kaido is actually going to be able to, turn Wano into more of a pirate stronghold like he intended, and then they have to free Wano from that. So I'm okay with that. I think it makes it easier and more symbolically powerful if, for the ending of the arc, wherever it is, if, like, Onigashima has to be destroyed and Onigashima is already in the center of Wano. Because it's just like it's better than having it happen, like, way off screen, completely separate from the land. And then on top of that, I'd say that if this is meant to end in failure, then I do think that, like, the most symbolically powerful thing that Oda could do is definitely have the act end with everybody defeated and Onigashima placed in the literal center of Wano, because that just makes for a very powerful visual of, you know, the villains having won. And then after that, the protagonists have to regroup and make a comeback. So I'd say it's still very doable. I just don't think that I'm as certain as I was before. So that's where I'll leave it at.
I think that's a fair point. Yeah. I don't know. I'm really curious how it's going to turn out. I feel like right now, well, first of all, okay. I mean, we do, like, in general, like, this entire Kaido thing, I think this chapter kind of made the theory that Kaido is a dragon way more likely, I guess.
Yes,
maybe
I would
even
agree with
more
that.
Likely.
I would agree with that.
So that's one thing of it. And then I feel like the other thing, like, well, first of all, it's crazy impressive that he managed to make the entire island float. I think that was pretty dope in general. Like, I think someone said, like, this is basically what happens in other mangas and game.
Yeah.
Well, here you're just like Act 3.
Act 3 of one arc. Yeah.
but I feel like it created like Oda once again used this trope of the overarching physical threat that he really likes, like with the earthquakes and the tsunamis at Marineford, and then the birdcage and the Noah and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And the time bomb in Alabasta and shit like that. So I think like once again we have the situation where now the innocent quote unquote citizens of Wano and the Flower Capital, like they have been caught into this whole dilemma where now it's gonna be the question's gonna be how can we stop Onigashima into crashing and like flattening the biggest part, the most populated part of the entire island.
Yeah.
And I personally, well, I mean, Oda might like I feel like he has gone darker, but I don't think he'll go dark in terms of like Kaido committing genocide.
No. I think the people of Wano are safe. I don't think he's just dropping it on a bunch of citizens.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like this will be a good moment for hopefully one of the Straw Hats, where it's gonna be like a Luffy, a Zoro, a Sanji, maybe, I don't know, whoever, being like showing off by maybe destroying Onigashima. Oh, sorry. I just said that it might be a cool chance for one of the Straw Hats basically to take down Onigashima, like an entire island.
I saw people asking like, could Zoro just cut Onigashima in half? And I was like, how does that solve? I don't know if that solves the problem. You know, like I don't know if maybe I personally don't get it, because then everybody in the island just falls and dies. And if you cut it when it's over Wano, then people still die. So I don't know if Zoro's cutting Onigashima.
Yeah. That would be cool though. I'm sure it would look cool. But do you feel like for you, like your gut instinct, does it tell you that this will be like a major story plot, I guess, for Wano now going forwards, like stopping the islands? Because like we're just getting started, but like it feels like something like 1 hour until, you know, like this typical thing, 1 hour until Onigashima smashes into the mainland.
So okay, it's so tricky because it's like Oda could easily like that's why this chapter's cliffhanger is so tricky for me, because Oda could write it that like Onigashima's basically there by like next chapter, or he could write it like you're saying, like where it's like this sort of impending doom similar to the birdcage or whatever, of just like flying Onigashima over there to like land it on the Flower Capital. I think a lot of that goes back to, is this basically the conclusion to the act, or is it not the conclusion to the act? Because if it's the conclusion to the act, then if it's the conclusion to the arc, or not the conclusion to the arc. Because if it's the conclusion to the arc, then I think you're right that it's just going to take a while for Onigashima to get over there, and they're going to stop it before it actually happens. Or if it's not the conclusion to the act, then I think that the act will basically end with everyone defeated and Onigashima basically touching down on the Flower Capital. There was one thing that somebody
touching
mentioned.
Down is a very gentle way of like.
Okay, let's say landing, airdropping onto the Flower Capital. I think that there was somebody's on Twitter said something really interesting. I'm trying to find the person's. I generally don't respond to a lot of stuff on Twitter just because so many people throw out theories and at me in them. But there was somebody who, after I thought about it a little bit, his theory was really good, which was like, I don't know if you saw this, like Momonosuke. This could be Momo's test to fly over to the Flower Capital and tell everyone to evacuate. I think that would be a good storyline. I'm trying to find the person who said
Momo could pull out the Flower Capital and then bring it to where Onigashima was.
Just swap it. I don't know if that's that productive, but I think the Flower Capital, if it's fucked
basically,
no matter what.
They would have liberated Wano, but it's like just bring it somewhere else, opening the borders, just float the entire thing somewhere else.
I do think the Momo theory makes sense, at least to me, because it's like Momo complains about his fear of heights a lot. I think the person who came up with this theory, I think it just makes a lot of sense that Oda will write this in, that somebody's got to fly over to Wano. It would be a good test for Momo. Momo's outside of Onigashima, so he gets to see it happening right now. I think it makes sense.
Well, to be fair, I really feel for him with the fear of heights because like he was held out of the tower by Kaido. So
Yeah.
I kind of get where he get that from.
Yeah. So I don't know.
No.
I'm on board with that. I think that theory makes sense.
Yeah, at this point, there's just so many. I do like that theory. Actually, like obviously we know that Momo will have to do something.
Yeah.
To prove himself, and like his arc has already kind of like, well, his character has been pretty static. I feel until we got to Wano. I feel right now it's started to become more dynamic and more malleable, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
he did have the moment where he was crucified and so on and so forth. He was fighting back against Kanjuro and stuff like that. So like we're seeing more Momonosuke action right now, and like I'm pretty sure we'll get to see more of him and his character developing over time.
Do you think Yamato's a dragon?
Cool. That's the question, right?
Yeah. No.
So
if people think Kaido's a dragon, then you got to think that Yamato's a dragon too, right?
I mean, so we know that she has like some sort of transformative ability, at least. Like we saw her starting to transform, and like Sasaki freaking out about it.
Yeah.
Now the question is, like, I've seen a lot of people throwing around the idea, like, or the question, is Yamato actually Kaido's like daughter by blood, or is there like some research involved where like people speculating that Kaido himself is like something research related, and like is Yamato just like maybe he calls her his child, but it's actually something more like, you know, like something science related. If Yamato is actually Kaido's daughter, which I personally would think would be way more interesting, because I feel like it gives like both characters much more complexity.
Yes.
And like this very interesting dynamic. Then by definition, I guess she would have to be a dragon as well. I think Oda is very consciously keeping all these, like, this ambiguity alive over these last couple of chapters. You can tell like he's well aware that people want to know what Kaido actually is, and so like I think he's playing with that very, very much on purpose. Shit,
do you think what about the white tiger theory then, though? Do you think that there's a possibility? Because I like that better just because of her hair color, and I personally am biased. I don't like the idea that Kaido's actually a dragon, because that just opens up. That means that at some point we're going to see somebody who actually has the dragon fruit, and it'll just be less impactful for me because I thought we've already gotten the dragon fruit. You know what I mean?
To be fair, I think if Kaido is a real dragon, I don't think we're going to see another dragon fruit.
Oh, really?
Fruit. I think that Momo is going to be the dragon fruit we're going to get.
I guess, if he's artificial. I don't know. I just don't like the idea of like dragons as being like an because then I don't know. It's just like a weird personal preference type thing. I prefer the idea of him having just having a zone. But it is looking less and less.
Well, even
likely.
if he's a dragon, it looks like he might still have a zone, though.
Yes, that's true. Oh, that would be really cool. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. At the very least, it means he doesn't have the Oni fruit, right? Because then Yamato, right? Like, why does Yamato?
But
like,
wouldn't that explain why Yamato is significantly smaller than him in her human form? Like, if Kaido ate like the, I don't know, Oni or like continent puller, whatever fruit, and then Yamato just ate a regular human fruit or whatever.
Oh, you think Yamato also ate a human fruit? Okay.
Well, I mean, let's just like go into full speculation mode, and let's just assume
that's what this is for.
That both of them are dragons. Like that would mean both of them. Like, let's say they haven't eaten like zone fruits to transform into animals. That would mean that both would have to have human devil fruits.
Yes.
Right, like human model zone fruits.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I guess would explain like the size difference and like a difference in appearance, but on the other hand, I don't know, like if that makes it probably a lot less likely. Though then again, it's Oda's story, so he can go with this wherever he really wants to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really like, I don't know. It's a fun, like it's a fun thing he has integrated in there, which I'm actually enjoying. Like in the end, you could kind of say it doesn't really matter for Kaido, because we both know like he's pretty strong in his dragon form, and he's probably even a bit, or he seems to be even a bit stronger in his like Oni form, or his like human form.
He definitely seems stronger
like,
in his human form, Oni form.
In the end, for his fighting ability, it probably doesn't matter so much, but just like the backstory, of course, would be fascinating, and like the intrigue behind that.
Yeah, he's still definite. Like, fighting ability wise, he's still Kaido. I mean, I think at least from what we've seen, like dragon form, to me, it's cool because it gives him a wider range of like really nutty abilities. Like he can lift the island, for example. He can do lightning. He can do fire, stuff like that. But then his human form or Oni form or whatever is better for just straight up like
Just tanky.
fighting, just straight up fighting, hitting people. So I think it's a good trade off. And I assume we're still gonna get a hybrid form, no matter if he is a
I hope so.
whatever he is.
I hope so. I'm really excited, and let's maybe talk about Yamato for a second as well.
Mhm.
Like, what has been your impression? Like, I know both of us really liked her after she was introduced, and then we had like this big break in the podcast. So, has your view changed, improved, or like gotten worse? Like, what are your thoughts on her character?
I still like Yamato a lot, and I think like even just small. I think last chapter, so the chapter before 997, the one where she took out that number, the one where she started to transform. That was a really good Yamato highlight chapter. I still definitely like her character. I'm just trying to figure out what the purpose is for her being here yet, you know? Like, what's the direction that her character is going to take? Because the fact is, like, she's being dropped in pretty... If this is the final battle, which I now have to start talking about, like, it's a possibility. If this is the final battle, then she's, like, a pretty important character that's being dropped in, like, really late into the game. So,
For sure.
Oda's still got, like, he's still got to develop a storyline around her to fit this in a short amount of time.
And you can tell that, like, Oda definitely tried for whatever reason, tried to hold her back as long as possible. But now you can tell with every panel, really, that she's getting, like, some, well, not even character development, just characterization, I would say, at the moment. I feel like Oda definitely has set her up to get a ton of, like, I feel like she does have, as a potential Straw Hat, which I would like to see, I feel like she does have the qualities to have a character development, like, basically triggered by the Straw Hats and by Luffy. This entire, like, oh, don't be Oden, be yourself, and, like, break free from your father and from the island and so on and so forth and explore the world. I feel like there's a lot of room, you know, for the Straw Hats to trigger her character development. But right now, I feel like Oda is just trying very hard and very successfully, I think, to flesh out her character and, like, characterize her as fast as possible after basically not revealing her for the longest part of the arc. Which I wonder, I personally think it would have been maybe even more hype. I'm going to speculate. If, for example, at the beginning or the end of Act 1 or the beginning of Act 2 or somewhere in the middle, where we just get a random shot of Kaido, we just get, like, a silhouette of Yamato, like, or it's just like, oh, this, like, Oden's Kaido's son or whatever.
Yeah,
and then that's it. Like, just one panel, and, like, everyone goes crazy and everyone wants to know. And then, like, the entire, I mean, the reveal was still pretty hype. It was Kaido has a daughter, Kaido has a son, and then, like, 2 chapters later, it was like, oh, reveal. Like, it was super hype. I'm just wondering if, like, you maybe could have even, like, stretched out the excitement about it a bit more. But
yeah, I mean, I if this is basically the end of everything, then I agree. Then, like, you know, teasing or building up, like, a little in advance would be good. If it's not the end, then I think it's fine the way he did it, and that, like, in that case, he'd be introducing her in the middle of the arc in the location of Onigashima, where it makes sense. So, dude, a lot of my opinions right now, like, are either really positive or not so positive based on if this is the end of the arc. Like, I'd say, like the Chopper, the Ice Oni stuff, to me, that flew by really quickly. So if that was Chopper's kind of big scene for the arc, then I'd be a little disappointed. Versus if it's, you know, this isn't the end, and that was just to give Chopper a bit of a storyline during Onigashima, then I wouldn't mind, and I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So a lot of it depends on where everything goes from here, and I really can't tell, but I have to admit it's looking more and more like this could just be the end of it all. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
A bit of a cough.
Oh. That went up. We're just
mostly
gone.
That out. Mostly gone. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like, even if this should, like, okay, so the way I personally see it is that even if it's not as you theorized, and there's gonna be a clean cut with a clear defeat, where the Straw Hats have to regroup and then basically do the second bigger attempt on taking on Kaido. If that's not to be the case, I still feel like that location change is gonna change the layout of the battle, and I feel like just the location change is gonna make it more large scale, I guess, if that should be the last battle. So I definitely, I don't know. I personally still feel like okay. So I would say that this is probably gonna be Chopper's moment as a doctor for this battle, but I don't think it's Chopper's moment. Like, I mean, we keep talking about this. Like, I still feel all of the Straw Hats will have to have proper fights.
Yes.
And to be fair, I personally really loved the Ulti page 1 Nami Usopp fight. It was very short, and like, I mean, it was like, I guess it was realistic in that way, and like Nami had that incredible powerful moment, and yes, Ulti is like, I guess it makes sense that she's still like a number too large, at least in combo with page 1 for these two. But, you know, that would be too short for my taste. And, like, obviously, all of the Straw Hats should have, like, a win moment in this.
Yeah. I mean, the Ulti page 1 fight, that was, like, you know, that's not their main fight. If their main fight of the arc just ended with Usopp knocked out.
But he's in pretty bad shape now.
Yeah, really
like,
bad shape.
So I'm wondering, like, how is he getting up from that again and, like, fighting properly? Like, he literally had his skull broken.
Wait, then, in that case, do you think that, like, regardless of whether or not this is success or not, do you think that it is going to be the next steps are, like, is the island going to touch down, you think? Or is it about stopping the island from touching down? Like, what's the next step of the plot? Like, is the island going to touch down and the battle continues from there? Or is the battle going to be about stopping the island from touching down?
I guess if I had to bet money on it, I would say it's going to touch down.
Okay.
And it's going to be, I think... It's okay, so I'm just gonna put out my head canon right now, but like just with the disclaimer that I have absolutely no idea what's gonna happen, because like just as this was a curveball, Oda like I think has a couple of curveballs left for this entire arc in general. So, but like the way I see it right now would be, for example, a way I guess would be that it's gonna be next to fighting and reaching Kaido, it's also gonna be about stopping the island, but they're gonna fail in that sense. They're maybe gonna manage to evacuate, or Marco, whatever. Some people are gonna evacuate the Flower Capital, but it's still gonna smash down. And then, because I feel like the island touching down on the mainland will open up so many possibilities for other actors to enter the arc, like Hiyori and Tenguyama and like the Big Mom Pirates or whatever, like all these characters, and like maybe even the Marines, whatever. So I think story-wise, and like with Oda promising this really big war in Wano, I personally feel like that would, location-wise, just as a battlefield, like out in the plain in the Flower Capital, would just make much more sense.
True. Yeah, like Onigashima, where we're at right now, is very claustrophobic.
Yeah. So that's the way I would see it. I would see it as like it being a real threat, the Straw Hats struggling to stop it, them not being able to stop it, but like somehow managing, hopefully, to evacuate the citizens. Or I guess if Oda wants to go really dark, them smashing into half of the citizens of the Flower Capital.
I think that's not happening. There's just no way.
I mean, there's still the very off chance that Kaido just like gently sets Onigashima next to the Flower Capital. But not seeing that really.
One thing. Yeah, good.
Yeah. Oh no, the last thing I wanted to say that I feel it's actually important in the sense of that I think for Luffy it's always important to defeat the main villain of the major arcs, at least in front of the people that have been suppressed. And so Luffy actually being at the center of Wano and like defeating Kaido there and having his show up there, in my opinion at least, will like give him the credibility with the entire Wano country he might need in the end, or like might want in the end. Yeah,
definitely.
Sorry.
That was always a problem I had with the fight just happening in Onigashima.
Oh yeah.
One other thing I'll throw out, because I'm just skimming through the chapter again. One page I really liked was the one with these random gifters. I don't know if you remember this.
I love that.
That was so funny. That was
Have you like, because I literally just know, like, it might be just me being stupid, but I literally just realized this chapter that it's like a literal running gag. Like when you go back into the older chapters, there's always, almost in every chapter, there's like an entire panel of like 2 or 3 or a couple of gifters being introduced, like these big like these big villains.
Yeah.
And then literally they either get one shot at the next panel or they're just like plain out ignored.
I think I get that it's a running gag. I think it works better if like you're reading the chapters back to back because these go by so quickly. But like
It's really funny.
they get just like the gifters keep getting shot down in like really funny ways.
And they're getting more and more grotesque also. Like it started with like the mouse ears and whatever. Now it's just like really weird shit.
Like, oh dude, I think this character Mizurka with the gorilla growing out of her, I think that's the worst gifter so far. I think that'd be the worst body to have out of all of the gifter bodies. Because it's more gorilla than person.
There was like this really weird one last chapter, like the chapter before, where it was like something like the butt of the guy was like an animal, so that was really weird as well. I don't remember what that was. But
we've run into some funny gifters, and they're all so confident. It's hilarious. Like,
yeah. And they always get like the boxes right with their names and shit.
Yeah, like it's some strong villain.
And then it's just like one shot.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
One shot or skip. Yeah, I like that Oda mixed it up too. With this one, like it wasn't even a one shot. He was like,
no, yeah, it was just
don't even fight him.
Luffy taking a shortcut with Jinbei. No, I thought that was really funny. I think, to be fair, I really like Wano so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel compared to, it's not that I dislike the humor after the time skip.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I feel like the humor in Wano has been, especially in Onigashima, has been way more One Piece-y than before. I feel like it's very spot on. I feel recently.
Yeah, I definitely agree that. I think especially with Onigashima, it's been a lot funnier than because the thing is like I've never felt like the comedy of One Piece has dropped off. Like it's not even something that I really think about.
It was just different. I feel.
Yeah, it's just maybe like a little like I think pre-time skip Oda had more time to do like more elaborate comedy stuff like with Foxy, that whole fight was just pure comedy, or like like with the Duval stuff or with meeting Crocus. Like I think he just had more time to like freely spend like half a chapter on some jokes or something like that. Whereas nowadays it's just going to be more like quick jokes thrown in throughout the arc.
Yeah.
Well,
that's about to be fair, I would say I with Whole Cake Island, I got like there was humor in there obviously, but I guess the entire like the urgency and the general urgency of the arc didn't allow for like any major, I guess, gags in there. Like there was obviously like the brulee stuff, which I thought was funny, but like there wasn't as much because like it felt like the Straw Hats weren't in control really.
Yeah.
So it was more escaping, so there was not so much space for that. Then Dressrosa, I feel like, was pretty relatively weak, if I remember correctly, on humor. Even though I felt like there might have been a bit more room there, but then Dofi, I guess, as a character was so dark, and the entire theme of the arc was so dark that it maybe didn't leave so much room for it.
I mean, I'd say it depends, because Oda's always been good at that. Like, I think it really is just space, because, like, Enies Lobby, in my opinion, is the heaviest arc of the series, and, like, besides Marineford, I guess, but, like, and, like, in that, like, you have Sogeking and Oda devoting time for, like, Sogeking gags. I think it's just that there's more stuff going on now, so, like, it's more so like quick dialogue-based humor, I think. Whereas before he could like spend more time setting up gags.
I guess.
So I mean I don't know if that's the case though. Like that's not even true because Dressrosa I think like we had Senor Pink stuff and I thought Senor Pink gags were really really funny and Oda would spend a lot of time on it. So I don't know. I've never felt like the humor hardcore dropped off. I think I'd say the funniest moments were maybe pre-time skip, but yeah. That's about it.
I mean, like One Piece is always funny.
Yeah, because Oda's just a very naturally funny guy. Like, really funny. Like, even in just his SBS answers or interview answers.
I just personally, I don't know. Like, maybe it's just my bias because I just really like Wano. But like for me personally, the jokes work even better than usually. Like I don't know. I find it really funny. Genuinely, a lot of the stuff. Like I really like the queen running gag with like his eyes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like him switching back and forth between being like this like cold like psychopath dude playing around with like his viruses and then like always being shocked and stuff.
Yeah, Queen's the best henchman we've had in like a long time.
That's pretty cool. I guess a good question before we get into questions themselves. Because I know people are gonna mostly comment on your theory again. I can see it already.
Okay.
if you, okay, how I'm gonna phrase this. If you had the freedom to, if Oda told you, let me know how you want the stuff from here to play out in a way that makes for a great final battle and a worthy final battle, how would your plot look like?
Oh, you're saying I can't let it end in failure? It has to be the final battle here.
You can let it end in failure. How would you run the plot from now on?
Oh, that's a tricky question, because that's like, no matter how I answer this, people are gonna be not happy, because it'll be like, oh, Morj thinks that like his version of the story is better than whatever Oda's doing. It's like,
okay,
can I just give my opinion on, I'll just do broad strokes. I'll just do broad strokes, not like specifics.
No, don't. I'll give you one more take. Not only has Oda told you, not only has Oda asked you to tell him how you think about it, but also nobody cares what you say about it. What would you say?
So we're just ignoring what's actually going to happen when I answer this. If I had to say broad strokes, I would say definitely. I think that, and like part of it is basically on stuff that I feel like has already been played up in the arc. So I don't even know if this is like me putting stuff in that isn't already there. But obviously, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I definitely think that basically big defeat is important for the Straw Hats. I think the Straw Hats need a sort of welcome to the New World moment, which they've never gotten. Not like Luffy losing to Crocodile, for example. So I think, first of all, having Onigashima actually land in the Flower Capital and having that coincide with the Straw Hats basically being defeated inside, within Onigashima itself, and ending the act on that, I think that would be very powerful. I think at the very least, giving us a break. I think what's very important is that there needs to be a moment where Luffy's spirit is actually broken or challenged by Kaido, because, I put out a video recently talking about Conqueror's Haki and Wano and how I feel that strength of spirit, or how like Kaido's character is largely built around trying to break people's spirits, which he's never really tried. Like, he sent Luffy off to Udon to break Luffy's spirit, quote unquote, but that wasn't actually like a harrowing experience in any sense for Luffy. I would like to see Luffy try and throw everything he's got at Kaido and have it fall short, and have him lose, ideally in front of his crew. Like, I think a very powerful way to end the act would be like Kaido Luffy coming through the roof of Onigashima with Kaido having defeated him or something like that.
Right, yeah.
I think basically the Straw Hat crew not necessarily being disbanded, but basically being forced to escape, Luffy being heavily beaten or broken. I think honestly having Luffy lose Conqueror's Haki for a little bit would be like a really good way to do this. I'm just spitballing stuff here at the moment, but maybe Zoro losing one of his swords, or one of his swords being broken. I just generally think a very sort of soul-crushing, spirit-breaking sort of defeat for the entire alliance is very important, because that's maybe been Zoro played up. To me, that's just
an eye or something.
Losing his other eyes. I just think that in general, that's something that's been played up throughout Wano a lot that isn't coming through in the act. Like, that's an idea that's been played up throughout Wano a lot that isn't coming through in the plot quite yet, which is that like the strength of your spirit, not having your spirit broken, being able to get back up and pick up your sword again. Like, I think that's something that's been a theme throughout the arc that we've been seeing referenced throughout the arc. Sure. And at the same time, it just seems like they haven't gone through any sort of like actual struggle compared to previous arcs over the course of this arc.
You could go as far and say that it's been set up during Whole Cake Island with the entire Big Mom thing and like the image being broken, and like that's basically the foreshadowing in a way, I guess, or would be the setup and foreshadowing for Luffy having his will broken. Yeah, I would completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if Oda wants to skip a lot of that or like wave that away and be like, that was just stuff that I was writing in as cool quotes or something, then I would just be disappointed if it doesn't actually come into play over the course of the arc. And I don't think I just can't picture this working without Luffy losing again, because it just doesn't carry any sort of weight if Luffy doesn't lose again. Like, if he just goes through the motions with the battle with Kaido, there's some struggle or something like that, but at the end of the day, Luffy wins as usual. I just think that there needs to be a point where like Luffy comes, he thinks he's prepared, he's trained and everything like that, and it's still not enough. That's the vibe I've gotten regarding this raid from the start, that like everybody seems very confident. Everybody seems like they just need a sort of reality check. But if it's not going to happen and Oda's not going to do it like that, then, I'll live, like I'll be okay with it. I'm not going to drop One Piece, but I would just be going back through the arc and kind of be confused about like what a lot of ideas Oda was slipping in that didn't really come into play in my mind. Anyway, if you're saying how would I continue it on from there after a loss, I would say the Marines coming to Wano would be a very important section after post Act 3 in my mind, as a sort of distraction for Kaido and Big Mom, because otherwise there's no reason that the Straw Hats, the Alliance remnants, wouldn't just be hunted down. I think that's very important to give some sort of breathing room, allow for some character development and some focus on the Straw Hats, and I think that'd be very important for Act 4 to just, especially if the Scabbards have kind of had their shot and they're out of the way, and their storylines are kind of like, having the focus shift towards the Straw Hats would be very important in my mind during Act 4.
Sure.
And then finally, like a rise back up, this time with more of Wano's average citizens involved, maybe the Grand Fleet coming in, stuff like that, but like one more swing at Kaido and stuff, and having Onigashima being destroyed by the end of the actual final battle, basically. That would be like really the broad strokes way of how I would imagine it. And now I know a lot of comments are going to be like people like complaining about that, but that's just, you asked that question. That's what I would like to see.
I think that works. Do you feel like if you go that route, because like basically you'll need a way to have the Straw Hats and like maybe the Scabbards or something, if they're not already dead, escape the island and escape if they actually lose. Now, do you feel that by other factions joining the battle, such as the Marines or the Revolutionaries or a Shanks, a Blackbeard, a whoever, Grand Fleet, do you feel like there will be a need for a... I'm not going as far as calling it a Deus Ex Machina, but having a third party basically stop Kaido from finishing the job and like giving the breather for the crew to flee the island?
I think it's very possible there will be a need like that personally, but I don't know how, but like these are reasons I question it now because I have no idea how Marines would show up at the center of Wano. Like it made a little more sense before when they were actually at Onigashima, because if the Marines come up, then Onigashima is like an island outside of the main, like the Marines could directly go to Onigashima and cause some havoc. Whereas here they would have to arrive in Wano and then make their way over to the center of Wano by the end of the act or something like that, which I don't see happening. So it's tricky. I just don't have good answers for a lot of this stuff. I'm just waiting to see how it goes. I just know what I feel like makes the most sense for the story.
But I personally feel like I really like the version you just laid out there. Like I'd like to see this. But yeah, as you said, I feel like at the moment it's really unpredictable what's going to happen, which is a good thing for sure.
Yeah, unpredictability.
Should we move on to some questions? I guess.
Yeah, let's do some quick questions.
Oh, it's been so long.
Oh, you want to answer Dritz's question first? It's a tough one.
The Dritz.
All right. It says, which one do you like more, Ed, and Eddie, or Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Who's Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Oh, sorry. Oh, shit. I forgot that maybe in Germany they don't have these shows. Okay. Did you ever watch either of these shows?
Cartoons?
Yeah, they're cartoons. Did you watch either of these shows?
Nope.
Okay, I'll answer.
So I'm gonna leave it to you.
All right, Courage the Cowardly Dog. I'm sorry, there's a culture barrier there.
All good.
All right, next one. You pick the next one. Sorry.
Okay. Arthur is asking, the Library of Ohara, what do you think of Kaido's claim of transferring Onigashima to the Flower Capital?
What do you mean?
No, that's actually an old question he's quoting here. It's feel it's fitting enough since I asked this once, I'll ask it again. How are you expecting the structure of the arc to shift with this change? Do you think this will be another Noah Birdcage-like threat, or do you feel it will service the plot? I think we went quite into detail about this, actually.
Yeah, would just be beating a dead horse at this point.
But yeah, I hope we answered the question to what's the word here?
Satisfaction.
Satisfactory.
Satisfaction.
To full satisfaction. Sure. So thanks for the question, Arthur. Let's see what else. Do you want to pick another one?
Yeah, sure.
Is the podcast still happening?
Yeah. I just saw that one too. I was like, what do you think we're doing right now, buddy?
No, we're just trolling.
Alejandro Ross says, do you think Marco will take Zoro up with Kaido and start fighting Kingdom? I said Kingdom because I started reading Kingdom. Nice. Slip. Start fighting King in the process.
Possible. But right now I feel like, I don't know, it feels like I already thought before Chopper said the thing about flames, I already felt like Marco was the right man for the job with his fire powers, healing flames against like ice demons. And now that Chopper was like, you need to heat your bodies, I feel like Marco's even more needed there right now. So I don't know. Like I'm not saying it's not gonna happen. I just feel like Marco's priority might be with helping Chopper. But we'll see.
I mean that makes more sense to me too. But then the thing is like the way Marco arrived this chapter had me thinking he was gonna fly Zoro up, because like Zoro said something like, I wish I could fly, and then I think immediately afterwards Marco shows up, he's like, can I help? So I got this. I would prefer Marco stay down, help with the fire. I think it's very possible though that Marco will be flying Zoro up. I don't know if we're gonna have Marco versus King though. I think it would be a really cool fight.
I think, yeah, I like that. I mean, it would be very fitting, I guess.
I don't think it would be like the main fight. Like I think we could see Marco even if you think Zoro's gonna beat King in the end, I think we could see like Marco versus King is just like a skirmish first.
Plus, I guess it would be really cool to see Zoro surfboarding on Marco. So,
dude, Zoro flying on Marco, that'd be really cool actually.
Let's see, what else we got here? A lot of questions.
Yeah,
really nice. Appreciate
I mean, it's been a while since we've done this.
Yeah, it's true though. Well, standard question, I guess, but I think it's interesting nonetheless. Which of the Straw Hats, if any, will unlock Haki during the raid?
Ooh. I think no one knew. Maybe Nami. I think maybe Nami could unlock Observation Haki. Besides that, I think no one knew. I think Zoro can unlock Conqueror's Haki, but not like if you're saying Haki for the first time, I think I just got Nami.
Yeah. Is Usopp like, was that I'm not sure. I don't think it has been confirmed that he's like able to properly use his observation Haki, right? Like,
that's true.
Unlocked it.
Yeah, that's
so
true. Like
sure.
he just did it on accident.
So it might be a good chance for him to maybe flesh that out more and like get used to it more. But yeah, if anything, I think Jinbei, pretty sure he has Haki, right? For sure, must have.
Yeah. Sketching.exe asked something that's kind of an offensive question. He says,
go for it.
For Ohara, what is your favorite double page spread in the series? I say this is offensive just because I'm like, why does it have to be just for, like, this is such an open...
To be fair,
either of us could answer this question.
We get a lot of like for Morj, like even on my live streams.
No, okay, I get that, but usually it's something specific to like if it's like, true. Does Morj still think that the raid will end in failure? I'm like, okay, I get that. This is just like, what's your favorite double page spread in the series? But they're actively excluding me from the question for no reason. So, what's your favorite double page spread?
No, we're not gonna answer it. No, then I'm not gonna answer it.
No, you're not. I was gonna answer it too. I was just kidding.
Okay. No. Actually, one quick anecdote to that. Recently, for some reason, it's become a running gag on my channel.
Yeah.
That people are commenting and saying that's a really good video, Morj.
Oh man. Okay, I get credit for your videos.
With that now.
That's
it's actually funny. My favorite double spread in the entire series is really hard to answer.
I'll say mine while you think of yours. I really like, not necessarily for the art, but I like the Straw Hats shooting the flag, and then like
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, the shot behind Luffy. That's my favorite. It's the most dramatic for me.
I'm not sure if it's my favorite, but like it's fresh in memory because I just made a video about it. The Raizo don't know is safe moment. It's just really cool.
It's really, really great.
So
still my favorite post-time
I'm gonna go with moment. That. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with that. But yeah, good question, I guess. Let's see. Another question: is the Wano Report still happening? Nope.
No, this is just.
Nope. Will the raid still fail? Someone commenting lol. Fiji is asking, will Sanji kill Kaido? I don't think Sanji's gonna kill Kaido, but I think it's just as unlikely that Zoro will kill Kaido. I'm still sticking. Like, I feel like I'm really digging my own grave here, but I still like despite I'm genuinely acknowledging the stuff that Oda's dropping in the chapters, but I don't know, like for me it's still more troll than actually foreshadowing. Not really trolling, but like I don't think it's gonna happen.
I think Zoro's gonna get a good piece of Kaido. Like I definitely think he's gonna get a big moment against Kaido. I think he is gonna get to do some stuff. I just don't think,
Yeah, same. I'm definitely fully on board with Zoro getting to fight Kaido and Zoro maybe landing a really good hit. But Zoro is definitely not gonna be the one who singles and solely takes out Kaido, and like he's definitely not gonna kill Kaido after Luffy has beaten him or like the others have beaten him. So
it's such a weird situation that people want. They want like somebody else to beat Kaido, and then Zoro walk up from behind and like chop up. Like that's like the lamest shit. Why would you even want that?
So yeah, like, I don't know.
Zoro's
we talked about this before. I guess once again, to just sum up my position, why I think it's so unlikely. In case you've forgotten, since people keep asking. Me personally, and I think Morj is on board with this, but like correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, Wano has been set up for like everything since Fishman Island has been set up for Wano and has been part of this Wano saga and the Yonko saga. And like, you know, going to Punk Hazard, like teaming up with Law to take down Kaido, going through Dressrosa to take down Kaido, then making the detour of course to Whole Cake Island, but Zoe before that was about Kaido. And so I just feel like if Luffy, the main protagonist of the entire story, who we have seen, the only one who we've actually seen training and getting stronger actively, obviously, over this arc and also before, if that dude doesn't get to take down the main villain that has been built up for like 5 or 6 arcs, not like even, but like arcs, I'm like,
no, it's just ridiculous.
Like, what's the point? Like,
Zoro has no connection with Kaido. No connection with, like, this is the first chapter that he has said that he wants to do something to Kaido. First chapter that he said that he wants to take on Kaido. And Luffy's been saying this since Punk Hazard. Like, the whole storyline has been Luffy and Kaido since the start of the New World. Yeah, since the start of the New World, it's been Luffy and Kaido. Zoro and Kaido was a theory that started up partway through Wano. And people are thinking that it's gonna, like, this is something that Oda is building up over Luffy and Kaido. It's just kind of, like, it's just...
I don't know. It's
just ridiculous.
I just feel... So don't get me wrong. I think there's a good possibility, like, I've actually thought a bit about this recently. I think there's actually a decent possibility that, like, after the time skip, Zoro might actually genuinely have been stronger than Luffy at that point, just because he came out of that training with Mihawk for very long, and then we see Luffy basically being the one who has to get stronger after Doflamingo. So I think there might have been a chance that Zoro might have been stronger at that point, actually, and like Oda might deliberately have hidden his powers until now, which he kind of has. We still don't really know where he stands, really. So I think there's a possibility for that Zoro is really strong, and that only recently Luffy has surpassed him again with like upgrading his haki and everything. Yeah. His future sight and his like the new armament now. So I think there's a possibility that Zoro is really damn strong and not so far away from Luffy. But there's also a chance that he is further away and he really is closer to Sanji. But like even if he should be really, really strong and Oda has deliberately hidden that, he's still like from a storytelling perspective, he would have to sell that really, really, really hard to me that it would make sense for him to take out the, like...
It's just, it would just be kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. And I see people saying, oh, well, if, you know, like, Luffy can still take out Big Mom. But then the entire fandom is complaining that Big Mom has been set up as this joke character, but now they somehow find it appropriate that Luffy takes out the joke Yonko and Zoro gets the dragon.
It's just, I don't know. And on top of that, like, dude, Zoro still hasn't convinced me that he's above Gear 4th. Like, and I'm not talking about Gear 4th now. I'm talking about Gear 4th Luffy from the start of the time skip. Like, what is Zoro, like, it's the weirdest thing because people will be like, oh yeah, Zoro's gonna beat King next. I think Zoro will beat King by the end of the arc or something like that. But that's one of the reasons I don't think that this is the final battle, because you can ask those same people, could Zoro have beaten Doflamingo and Dressrosa? And they'll be like, no. And I'm like, how is he beating King right now? Like, where did this jump happen? Like, when did this make sense to sort of just start saying that Zoro is up there, you know? Like, I definitely think that by the end of the arc, I just think that we need to see some more focus on Zoro getting stronger this arc, which is why I don't think that this is the final battle. That's all it is in my mind.
No, for sure. And I mean, as I said right now, I think, like, I'll give it to people that there's still the possibility, like, Oda has kept it this ambiguous, so there is the possibility that he's actually hiding his true power. But even still, like even then, yeah.
Mm-hmm. To me, that I mean, like I would really dislike it if
there's
it's
just nothing to argue for, because like literally the only real fight, quote unquote, that Zoro had was against Pika, and that was like very special circumstances, I would say.
Dude, from the stuff we've been seeing too, like we saw Zoro versus Kyoshiro briefly, and Zoro didn't look like he could beat Kyoshiro. I mean, maybe he could if he went all out, but it didn't look like Zoro's like that strong.
Yeah.
And then we saw Zoro versus X Drake, and to me it looked like Oda is portraying them as about even. Like maybe you can say Zoro's stronger, but like we really don't know. Like, I just don't. I think that there's sort of like a jump that people are giving Zoro. Like I definitely think by the end of the arc, where Zoro will be very high. I just don't know like what people are basing it on at the moment, kind of. So we'll see.
I don't know. Well, to be fair, I personally still hope he has. I do get where people come from, because I personally, as a big Zoro fan, am also still hoping for that reveal of that one, hidden secret power, or that one technique he learned, or whatever.
Asura.
Like,
he hasn't used Asura
yeah,
yet.
Asura,
That's really
or
big.
like in general, just
That's
Zoro
really
getting
big.
serious in general and like going all out. Like I still wait for that goddamn moment we haven't, like, oh, that's what happened during the time skip. Like,
yeah.
There must have been more than him just being able to use armament haki properly now.
Yeah.
Which I think you could claim he could even do before the time
true.
skip, just not aware
now that
of
we
it.
learned some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I feel like there still should be at least one or two aces Zoro has up his sleeves. But I would agree, like if he doesn't, then it would be kind of sad that we didn't get any training for him so far, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I do I do get the excitement, and I'm very excited for Zoro fights, and like really curious what the big fight's gonna be, if it's gonna be participating against Kaido, or if it's gonna be going against one of the all-stars, like whatever it is. I'm really excited to see Zoro go all out and like fight and like prove himself. But like, yeah, just like to I guess bring an end to this topic. I see absolutely, like, I don't see Zoro's chances for killing or like being the one to defeat Kaido that higher than Sanji's. To be fair. To answer Fuji's question.
You want to end it on that?
Yeah, I guess that's a good end. That's a good point.
I don't think we're gonna get a question that tops that, really.
Also, we can force people to comment more like this.
Yeah, that's
all
true.
Enraged and triggered. Okay, guys. Yeah, we hope you enjoyed this. We really hope we'll be able to do this more regularly now, but I guess no false promises. So we'll just see if we can get it together.
Wano Report every other day from here till Christmas.
From here to Christmas, every day Wano Report. Everyone will be better than the last.
Yeah, each one. We're getting PewDiePie
guests,
next time. We're getting
Mr.
all your
Beast.
favorite YouTubers.
Yeah. Talking about One Piece.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, but like still make sure to subscribe to the channel here if you haven't already. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and check out our channels if you haven't. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast streaming app, site, platform, whatever of your choice, don't forget to leave us a review there maybe if you enjoyed this. Thanks so much. Any last words?
No, I'm good. Talk to you all later.
I'll talk to you all later.